politics. All on your darling station, Vicinity 95.3 FM, Ikejile, Ijesha.
News from around the world. Vicinity FM 95.3.
This is Vicinity 95.3 FM, Ikejile, Ijesha. The time is 12 o'clock. I am Paul Eteng with Global News. First, the headlines. Experts raise concerns over $24 billion new borrowing by President Bola Tinubu. Sudan cholera outbreak kills 172 people. And North Korea condemns United States Golden Dome missile defense system. Now the news in full. The recent loan request of $24.14 billion transmitted to the National Assembly for approval by President Bola Tinubu now sets the country's public debt at 182.91 trillion naira by 2026. According to data from the Debt Management Office, the prevailing official exchange rate of 1,583.74 naira to $1 and proposed borrowing would add 38.24 trillion naira to the existing debt stock, pushing the country's total public debt from 144.67 trillion naira at the end of 2024 to over 182.91 trillion naira by 2026. This represents a 48.58% rise from the 97.34 trillion naira recorded at the end of 2023. The jump was driven by a substantial increase in both domestic and external borrowing and compounded by the depreciation of the naira against major foreign currencies. Economists now have raised concerns about the debt's sustainability, stressing the need to put the borrowing to good use. Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit has raised alarm over a surge in suspicious financial transactions from Nigeria to Dubai and Hong Kong, two jurisdictions it describes as emerging global hotspots for illicit financial flows. In a report obtained by Newsmen, the intelligence unit revealed it received 401 suspicious transaction reports linked to both regions between January 2021 and September 2024, with the total value of the flagged transaction exceeded 48 billion naira. The Nigerian Financial Intelligence issued an advisory to relevant stakeholders to trace the suspicious transaction, protect the Nigerian financial system, contributing to the global fight against money laundering, terrorist financing, and proliferation financing. Chairman of ECOWAS, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is set to declare open the formal events of the 50th anniversary celebration of the Economic Community of West African States in Lagos. The event is underway at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, Victoria Island, Lagos State. Presiding over the regional bloc anniversary, President Tinubu at the occasion will highlight several milestones of the economic bloc and reenact the 1975 declaration. The only surviving head of state who signed the ECOWAS declaration, General Yakubu Gowon, retired, who also participates in all the ceremonies and deliver a speech at the event. The ceremony brought together representatives from ECOWAS member states, top government officials, regional dignitaries, and diplomatic missions to mark the beginning of a year-long celebration and reflect on the bloc's 50 years of regional cooperation, integration, and progress. And away from Nigeria, a cholera outbreak in Sudan has killed at least 172 people and infected over 2,500 in the past week. with most cases reported in Khartoum and Omdurman. Humanitarian organization Medecins Sans Frontières (MSF) disclosed the health system in overwhelmed, noting many patients arrived too late for treatment. The outbreak has worsened an already dire humanitarian crisis as Sudan enters its third year of war, with over 20,000 deaths and 14 million displaced. The health minister, Haitham Mohamed Ibrahim, linked the surge to displaced personnel returning to the country, causing a strain to the limited water supplies. Cholera has reportedly spread across 18 African countries, with Sudan among the hardest hit. This is Vicinity 95.3 FM, Ikejile Ijesha. Global news will continue shortly. For news updates and live streaming, visit our website at vicinity953fm.com.ng. Send us an email to vicinitynewsroom@gmail.com or call 0814 365 8302 for breaking news. You can also follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Vicinity 95.3 FM. Now the rest of the news. The second day of aid operation by a new US-backed group in Gaza has caused chaos as desperate Palestinians overwhelmed a center distributing food, breaking through fences. Israeli military said its troops fired warning shots in the area outside the center to control the situation, which injured 3 Palestinians. The distribution hub outside Gaza's southmost city of Rafah had been opened the day before by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, GHF, allowed by Israel to take over aid operation despite opposition from the United Nations and other humanitarian organizations. Following Palestinian desperation for food after nearly 3 months of Israeli blockade, pushing Gaza to the brink of famine. North Korea has condemned the United States' plan to develop the Golden Dome missile defense system, warning that it could turn outer space into a potential nuclear battleground. Pyongyang accused Washington of militarizing space and provoking a global arms race, viewing the system as a direct threat to its nuclear arsenal. China echoed these concerns, criticizing the plan for undermining global strategic stability and escalating tensions. North Korea, which declared itself a nuclear weapon state in 2022, has continued missile tests to counteract perceived threats from U.S. defense initiatives. Despite widespread support in the U.S. for modernizing missile defenses, the Golden Dome project faces significant technical and political challenges. The initial budget of $25 billion could escalate to as much as $500 billion over several decades, raising questions about cost effectiveness. As the U.S. moves forward with the program, the international community remains wary of the potential for increased militarization of space and intensified arms race in both nuclear and aerospace domain. The Trump administration has ordered U.S. embassies to pause new student visa appointments globally, citing plans to expand social media vetting. The move, detailed in a memo by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, is part of a broader crackdown on international students and elite universities accused of tolerating hostilities during pro-Palestinian protests. Scheduled visa interview will continue, however, no new ones will be added until further notice. The decision has sparked international backlash, notably from China, and criticism from U.S. universities like Harvard, which faces frozen federal funding and restriction on enrolling international students. Student protests and legal challenges are growing, with critics calling the policy a threat to free speech and academic freedom. President Trump defended the action, saying it was necessary for national security, combating hate, making immigration and higher education key issues ahead of the 2024 election. And a bit of sport. A car drove into crowd celebrating Liverpool's FC Premier League win on Tuesday, injuring at least 47 people. A 53-year-old man was arrested, reacting to the incident. Police hinted it's not being treated as terrorism. King Charles III, currently in Canada, expressed shock and sadness, praising Liverpool's community spirit and thanking emergency responders. Prince William and Princess Catherine also offered condolences as investigations are ongoing. Liverpool FC and local leaders have also shown support for those affected. To end global news, another look at the headlines. The recent loan request of $24.14 billion transmitted to the National Assembly for approval by President Bola Tinubu now sets the country's public debt at 182.91 trillion naira by 2026, as economists raise concerns about the debt's sustainability. We told you that a cholera outbreak in Sudan has killed at least 172 people and infected over 2,500 in the past week, with most cases reported in Khartoum and Omodurman. And lastly, you heard North Korea has condemned the United States plan to develop the Golden Dome missile defense system, warning that it could turn outer space into a potential nuclear battleground. Just before we go, the last line: the only way to do great work is to love what you do. That was Global News. It was edited by Oluwafunke Israel. On behalf of the production crew, I am Paul Eten. Thanks for listening. Please stay tuned for News Nationwide at 6 o'clock. Good afternoon.
Music, sports, entertainment, politics, all on your darling station, Vicinity 95.3 FM, Ikejile, Ijesha.
We lead while others follow.